And the collaboration that we're going to have going forward.
No better way to communicate to your audience.
How do we grow strategically now that we've gotten the right path forward? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show with Todd Schroth and Nicole Davidson. I want to welcome Nicole here all the way from Australia. Nicole, thank you for being with us. We are excited to bring you over to the show and just kind of teach real estate agents what they can do and how they can create their own path to success. Now, this is kind of a unique scenario because you're not a U.S. based, but it's the same thing we're teaching here can be taught over there and vice versa. It's all about how to create your own energy and your own path forward, especially as, for us going into this new market into 2023. So Nicole, I thank you for being here with me today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Todd.
Yeah, definitely. So Nicole, give us a little bit of background on yourself and what your business is and how you're coaching your people. And you coach beyond real estate. So you've got I think it's pretty cool because you got a wide majority of business because you can take stuff from healthcare and other stuff into real estate and real estate into that.
Absolutely, because it's just about people. The real estate industry is made up of people, whether you're an agent or whether you're a vendor or et cetera, et cetera. So really, I help people focus on the inner game because that's how they show up, is how they're going to create what they want to create. So my background's in education. I was a primary school teacher for several years and I ended up teaching internationally. So I lived in about 6 countries and over a 15-year period, and it was just fantastic. I loved it. And I learned so much about people, just seeing people from all walks of life and what we have in common and what really drives us. And so then I was mentioning that I walked the Camino de Santiago across northern Spain, and I decided I wanted something different with my life. So I came back to Australia, and after a period of time, I ended up getting into coaching, and I just happened to start coaching real estate agents and getting to know the industry. And it's just been a really, really rewarding time because I think one of the things that from my personal perspective, when you're a primary school teacher, your life is very structured. You come to school at this time, you go to the bathroom at this time, etc. And so I think I love the energy of real estate, and it's very dynamic. So really, really enjoy it, and really enjoying supporting people doing it on their own terms, because I'm a huge believer that we're not really succeeding unless we're doing it on our own terms.
So what does working with you look like? If I'm an agent coming to you for coaching, how are you helping me get on my own path and getting out of my own way?
So the first thing I do, so we offer different lengths of programs. And the first thing I do is give you a questionnaire to find out what it is that you really want to achieve. And the most interesting part of this every single time is that my client, if you're coming to me, you'd put down what you wanted to earn that year. And I'd go, oh, is that all? And they go, oh, what do you mean? And I say, well, if you could earn more, would you? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, let's start thinking about that. Because we're caught up in the limitations of what we think is possible. So the first thing I do is really help people tune into what it is they truly want. Because if you ask a child what they want, they go, oh, I want this, I want that, oh, and I want that. You ask an adult, and quite often there's crickets. That's an Australian expression. Quite often there's nothing, because we're so conditioned to ask for what we think we can get rather than what we really want. So I really help people tune into that. And then after I've done that, I go through a process and, help them identify the limiting beliefs they have, the obstacles that are standing in their way. And so much of it is in the unconscious mind. We don't even know we're doing it. But our beliefs, our limiting decisions are driving the decisions we're making today. So I help them clear that out. And then they have a clear run just to keep achieving what they want to achieve.
Well, for us, it's like, I think if we can show you how to sell one more house a month, that can almost double your income, or how to raise your average sales price. Some people don't think that they can go from $250,000 to $300,000 sales price, or $400 to $500, depending on the area you're in, and call it luxury versus mid-level to low income, or not, I don't want to call it low income, but the lower level housing, and all the clients are the same. You've got some that are living in $250,000 houses, driving BMWs, and $1 million houses, driving pickups. It's all about the person's personality. It's not about, what, because he's buying $1 million home, he's driving that Beamer and wearing a 3-piece suit. I think the guy that's in the 250 house doing that's trying to impress people that don't need to be impressed, and the guy that's in the $1 million house doesn't want to impress anybody. I'm just cool, comfortable, and I'm well off. And you get intimidated by that. And I think that's where it's like, how can you help me get out of my own way thinking about that? And
absolutely, that is huge, because I've had clients who have, we're selling, and I'll talk in terms of over here, but clients who were, their bread and butter was kind of $2 million apartments. A $5 million was really exciting. And then they're now operating in the $10 million houses.
Yeah.
And the 3 to 4 million become their bread and butter.
Right.
So, but what allows you then to move to that level to do that? And what they realized was that it takes the same amount of effort and energy.
Yep. The paycheck's a lot different. So one of my clients that I probably sold about 8 houses to over a 6-year period, whenever we'd go to look at houses, he was always getting off the ground, working on a car, had oil on his white shirt, oil on his fingers, and he'd go clean up. But he looked like, he just got out of a body shop. He was well off because he was flipping cars, and he cleaned his own cars. He serviced his own stuff, and he was buying $1 million properties. And when he moved down here from Boston, it was a school teacher, and he was buying a $500,000 house, and went from $500,000 to 750, and averaged the next 6 sales at $1 million. I'm 25, getting into the business and selling this guy $1 million properties. And I'm like, do I need to dress up for him? No, because I would be standing above him, but instead of beside him.
Right. And it would be your insecurity that needed you to do that.
Yep.
And so even if you do get the sale, when you're doing that, you're still living a way of life that's actually not congruent with who you are.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you see me, I'm wearing a hoodie to the office. This is my average attire. I'm not in a 3-piece suit at work. I typically have a dress shirt on or something. I mean, it's cold here, 50 degrees. So it's a reason to wear a second layer. But typically we're not like getting involved in 3-pieces. Now there's a gentleman that wears 3-piece suits, and it doesn't matter what he sells, price range and stuff, but that's who he is. He will never show up without that on. Right. And he's grown that authority around that. Do the same amount of business without having how to dress like that. But that's who he is, and that's his nature, and that's what pushes him to go forward. So what are some tricks that people can do that you can kind of give us tips on about how to get somebody out of their own way?
So as I said, the first thing I think is about just being really honest with yourself. We can we can lie to ourselves, and we don't know that we're doing it. But the one thing that you can always rely on is your body.
Okay.
Our body doesn't lie. So, if you say something I'll give you an example. So if you just like to think of something that a time in your life or something happened and you felt really bad about it, right? It just didn't work or whatever. And I just want you to feel what's in your body, the sensations in your body. Okay. Got it? Okay. And then I want you to think of something that was really amazing and you were just so excited and life was great. And I want you to feel the sensations in your body.
Okay.
And what do you notice between the two?
To me, it's closing on that $1.5 million deal. And it was one that was an easy work for. It was because we had a connection. And I think that's because it's a big payday and it's the same work as the other one that we've struggled to get through. Why not try to push that higher price point and the people you're around? Yeah.
And what did you feel in your body when you felt the thing that didn't work out versus the thing that did?
Oh, it's blood pressure.
Yeah. You can feel it. You can feel it in your body, right? Yep. So the important thing to remember in what we just did then, nothing changed externally, did it?
No.
It was just where we chose to focus.
Right.
So if you can get used to feeling into your body, and your body will never, ever lie to you. So if you start telling yourself that, this is what I want to earn, this is what I want my life to look like, and you feel a bit of discomfort, that's a sign that you're not on the right track, or you may need to make a little tweak.
Okay.
Often you don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but what you want to do is make sure that when you're asking yourself questions, feel them in your body, and that will never, ever lie to you. So that's the first thing. Okay. And I think another one is everything is two ends of the same stick. Now, this is from my garden, and it was a little bit of barky stuff. I couldn't find a twig, but I used it to highlight because it's a really good illustration that everything is two ends of the same stick. So we can either have the presence of something or the absence of something. So I can either notice, so often, right, you've got listings on the go, but you're noticing the listings you don't have because you don't have enough.
Right.
Right. So I'm then picking up the end of the stick, which is the absence of listings. And when I'm picking up this end, I can't be grateful and excited about the ones I already have. So a really interesting thing to do is when you're feeling something and you're not feeling great, which end of the stick are you picking up? Because as we just showed with our focus, you can change it like that.
Right.
And once you start doing that, you're then the master of your experience because, you know, one of the things that really drives me is that we live in this externally focused world and we give our power away. You know, we're looking outside of ourselves for permission, for validation, for acceptance, for love, for whatever. And what we need to do as we're doing that, we've got this big void inside of us. And you mentioned at the beginning that it's our energy and how we show up. So what we want to do is bring our focus from out there back in here. And even as soon as I do that, Todd, my shoulders go back. I feel powerful. And so once I do that, then when you're showing up in front of your clients, they can feel it. It's so subtle, but they can feel it. And when you become known as that person who can show up that way, you become reliable, you become congruent, you trust yourself more because you know that you are in control of how you feel and how you show up, and things shift, and things can shift really quickly.
Well, and I like that because, you know, it's one, like you make the point, sit up straight, feel confident. You're going to walk into an appointment. If you're going to your listing appointment, sitting back, relaxed, and you get there and you're just slumming to get out of the car, you're going to walk in with a different mindset. That's why you're missing those appointments. If you walk in and go there, playing the right music, you know, back up, head out, sitting up straight, you know, with a positive mindset going all the way to the appointment, not taking an interruption on the way there, it's going to be a complete mind shift if you sit there and deal with all kinds of BS on the way to the appointment because you're basically mind clustered at that point.
Absolutely. And again, that energy shift, like people can feel that. And the way you were describing people walking in, right? There's the obvious thing of being able to look at people. They can look at you and see that. But there's also the energy just going, you know what, this person's not on their game.
Yeah.
So and it's not even, I would say, not even me having to think about pulling my shoulders back. When I start thinking about the fact that, I give myself permission, right? I give myself permission to be amazing.
Yeah.
I accept myself. You know what? I'm not perfect, but hey, you know, whatever it is, that's what makes me me. I don't need to sit there and, you know, do and be a certain way to be accepted because I'm not after your acceptance because I accept me. And so automatically, I don't even have to think I need to put my shoulders back. When I have all of those things inside me and realize that I'm not lacking anything, then when I turn up, I'm then able to have a conversation and I'm then able to be curious because I'm not sitting there coming from a place of lack. I'm not coming from a place of scarcity going, oh, I really need this. I really need this. Because then you're turning up from a place of service. You're turning up really comfortable. The people can feel that. And so then agents are a dime a dozen. So what makes one agent different from the other? It's your unique energy and how you show up and how you relate to people. And when you can nail that on your own terms, to me, that's when you've actually made it.
So hold on a second. So just kind of pivoting from that now, once we've gotten our mind shift, like how do we stay in that position, like during the appointment and other things like that?
You focus on the other person. You don't focus on yourself. Because, you know, when we get self-conscious and we start to lose our train of thought and we start to, and then our energy wobbles. I like calling it wobbly energy. And people can feel that. It's so subtle. So the thing is, once we're in that mindset and we feel that that power within, we go in and we relax, because the thing is, there's a process with real estate. And if you can, so I focus on 3 things. It's about unleashing energy, building capacity, and creating the conditions to be successful. So that unleashing energy is being really clear about what you want, why you want it, what your strengths are, what lights you up, what totally turns you off. But then building capacity is, developing your skills in the real estate space. So when you combine those two, you can have confidence that you know what you're doing. I mean, I've had a client who, she got to the million GCI, and then she was having a wobble and she's going, I think I need scripts and dialogues. And I'm like, you do not need scripts and dialogues. You need to connect with you.
Yeah.
And once we got her connected with you, she could walk in and she could show up and the people knew it was about them. And then she was on fire again.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, because they can see that too. And when you can walk in there with a clear mind, that's going to make a huge difference when you're sitting there going talking to the clients, and you can focus. Because I can walk into your house, run my script word for word or presentation, and I'm not in there like running you a slideshow or anything. It's more just talking to you about what we do and who we are and blah, blah, blah. Now, if I walk in there and I'm dealing with a bunch of stuff beforehand and not going in with the right mindset, I'm going to stumble through that. If I win it, good for me, but I screwed up along the way. If I win it because I didn't screw up, that means I went in there with the right mindset and finished it out right.
And the right energy. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And you've made it, and sorry, Todd, but you've made it about them.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So here's a question for you. Brand new agents getting into the business who haven't been on their first appointments. They're walking in nervous. How do we get them to understand that you're like talking to somebody else? You're walking through a property and not to be nervous about something. How do we get them out of that mindset?
So remember when we spoke before and I asked you to think of 2 scenarios, and one you felt really good and one you didn't.
Right.
The same thing, right? So I can think of a time where I just kicked something out of the park, and it might be somebody who's young. It might have been at school that they did it. It might have been, in a sporting endeavor or something. But we can tap into any feeling that we want at any time. So you don't have to be thinking about a time where you were successful in real estate. You just need to think of a time where you were successful. And so starting off by tapping into those times where you actually did do really well, because otherwise you focused on what could go wrong. Whereas if you sit there and you tap into times in your life where you've just, really succeeded, felt really confident, knocked it out of the park, then you're in that energy and then you go in. So that's the first thing I would say, because, at the beginning of the game, when you're new and the processes aren't necessarily second nature, you can still turn up feeling really good. That's something that nobody has to give you. And when we're in that way of being where we're feeling really good, we're resourceful, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And I think that comes down to, like, whenever you see the movies, they're doing like the pitchers are up on the mound and they're clearing their head, or the batter's up there, digs his foot in to gets himself into that position where I got to hit that ball out of the park. I'm using baseball as an analogy, but that's I'm coaching my kid in baseball, so I was like, that's what I'm kind of using. Like, dude, clear your head. You're up there, you're screwing up. And because you screwed up, you're going to screw the rest of it up. Yeah. Stop, pay attention, and, just focus. And if you could focus on the ball going over the plate, and the minute he stops and takes a breath, I'm watching him do that, and he's back to pitching strikes or hitting the ball from the pitcher. And so it's like anything. The minute we go to the front door, you almost take a step back from the front door before you ring the doorbell and take a deep breath, Mufasa, whatever your words are, and then ring the doorbell and then go in and go for the kill, and whatever terminology you want to use, but go in to close the appointment.
Yeah, definitely. And once you've made that decision, that's a decision, isn't it?
It is.
And once you've made that decision, then that's yours. And also what you were saying about your son and this happened. And then he goes up and he focuses. Once a moment's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And we can either live in that past that's gone, or we can sit there and go, you know what, can't change that. Learn from it. Okay, let's do this next moment and live in the moment.
Well, I think one of the biggest things, like a lot of the coaches teach, is like finding your why. Why are you in this business? Why are you doing this? And people have a variation of things, but talking to you, I kind of understand more of that, because now I understand why I want to be in the real estate business if I'm going through this, why I love helping families, why I love getting people to the closing table, and because the feeling at the end. And not always about the money, because you made the money in the business. Now it's a matter about just helping creating the clients and the connections.
And can I just share a great story with you, Todd?
Yeah.
A client of mine, we're aiming for that $1 million GCI. And I remember the call I had with her, and she told me she'd hit it. And I went, oh, that's so amazing. And she looked at me and she said, it feels really empty. And I said, how perfect is that? Because this is a huge mistake that we make. We think that when we get there, we're going to be happy.
Yeah.
We think we get there, we're going to be proud. We think when we get there, we're going to be confident. This is the big kahuna, right? This is the big key. The only reason we ever want something is because of how we believe it's going to make us feel.
Right.
And the problem with living like that is there's always a gap. Because here I am, here's how I want to feel. In the meantime, what's happening here? So what we want to do is identify, okay, when I get earn whatever it is, $1 million, whatever, this is how I'm going to feel. So I'm going to feel proud, excited, joyful, satisfied, etc., etc. So where can I identify feeling those things now? So, or in the past, where have I ever felt those things, or where can I find them in my life that I'm feeling now? Because then there's no gap. We're already there. And so then we have to attract that. But if we're focusing on the gap, again, we're focusing on the absence of something. Yeah. I don't have what I want. I don't have what I want. It's painful.
Yep. No, I think that's key right there. So, Nicole, if as we're kind of wrapping up, questions for you. If someone wanted to kind of work with you, what does a coaching system look like with you, and how do they get in contact with you?
Okay, so as I said, I offer different length coaching packages. A really good one to start with is a 3-month. And what we do there is we start off doing a 90-minute session where I get you to fill out a form, like I said before, and we really drill down into what it is you want. We tweak, we pull things out, we put things in, and I just help you get really honest with that.
Right.
And then I do, I'm an NLP coach, so I do an NLP breakthrough. And what that does, it allows us to identify our unconscious limiting beliefs, etc., and we clear that out. So that's gone. And then you've got a free run. And so in those next sessions, we're just focusing on probably the logistics and the processes and how you're showing up and how we tweak that. And so if you'd like to get in touch with me, I can put in the calendar. I'll put my Calendly link in, so we can do a free 15-minute call, and I can help you get focused for 2023, if that's something you'd like to do. But also, you can contact me through my website at growthtosuccess.com.au.
Okay. Yeah, if you could drop your Calendly in the comments, it would be great.
Yeah, I will.
And that way, if anyone wants to click on it. So, you're going into 3 months, and what is the goal after 3 months? So, like, you have different packages that go beyond that.
I do 12 months. I do a 12-month package.
Do we typically get out of our own way in 3 months, or are we still in our own way sometimes after 3 months?
Look, you're definitely out of your own way after 3 months. Yeah, there's definitely a shift, right? So you're definitely out of your own way. So the 12 months is really for people who want to go deeper and really create that life that they want to create.
Okay.
So yes, but there's definitely a really good shift after 3 months. Good.
That's what I hear, because like a lot of people are like, all right, cool, get me in this 12-month program, and it's going to take a whole year of work on you, and like, but I think some of it is we get out of our own way in 3 months, and then it's rinse and repeat to make sure that we're keeping you out of your own way and giving you new techniques. Because especially with like NLP, that is a huge thing to master and learn. I mean, I'm still trying to understand disc profiling, and and I've taken a couple NLP classes, and I don't know if I got out of my own. I got in my way while I was in those classes, and I need to like stop back before I go into the door and get on the call about like, all right, what is an LP? What am I trying to learn here? And how can I master it? Because that's key. Because, I've heard people in their appointments are like, holy crap, you just changed some words and that got that person sold. Or just the way you're talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, that's sort of part of my toolkit. That's not all of my toolkit.
Right.
So, I'm very much about providing people with lots and lots of different strategies. And the whole thing was really about awareness. Once we're aware, and it's about then teaching people, giving the people tools to course correct, because we're always going to be going like that. The NASA space shuttle is always off course,
right?
Until it's on course. It's like a plane; it's off course until it's on course. And so, what we want to do is just course correct and have the tools to do that.
Right. If we can keep you on autopilot, that'd be amazing. But we're never on autopilot.
Well, that's right. And who wants to be on autopilot? What's the point?
Right. You got to have the interruptions to help us learn from our mistakes and learn from our opportunity and gain from the opportunities we've had.
Yeah, and who knows what's coming? Because if we're on autopilot, then everything's just the same. Where and I wrote a thing for my email list yesterday, and it's like the value of the curveball.
Right.
Curveballs come, and there's opportunities there. So
funny. That's kind of the perfect setup there. Well, Nicole, I appreciate it today, and definitely we'll get this in front of our audience, and get it, see if we can get you some opportunities. But I appreciate the education back, because your call today gives me an opportunity for my upcoming huddle with my team to give them some ideas as we close out this year. And because everyone's gotten in their own way this last part of the 6 months of the year, and diving in, like I think we've all gotten scared. 2023 is around the corner, and we've got to set up to get out of our own way so we can crush 2023 and start out that first quarter correctly.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Nicole, I appreciate it. Any final words for the audience?
Oh, just be you, and the gold lies within you. Okay. You don't have to keep going out and recreating and being other people. Go within, find that power within you, and go forward.
Perfect. I appreciate that. That's good stuff. Well, I appreciate your time today, and we'll definitely get this out there.
Thanks so much, Todd. That was great.